Is it better to teach our kids what to believe and how to think, or is it better for us to let them listen to God on their own and come up with their own conclusions? Well, a couple things on this. Number one, it depends on what you mean by listen to God and come up with their own conclusions. If the primary way of listening to God is searching the Scriptures, well, certainly that's part of it. But there are some fundamental things that we have to do at early ages to help them to think properly. I mean, students don't just kind of grow up and if we kind of are hands off, don't teach them anything, they're going to learn how to think, and they're going to learn how to think properly. And so, yes, we need to give them the tools of thought. We need to help them to learn how to think well, ultimately so that they can think for themselves. I mean, I think there's a kind of probably a good idea here behind the question, and it's that we want our students to kind of come to their own conclusions. Absolutely. We want them to own their own faith. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't train them. I mean, look, if you take Christianity to be true, if this is the true view of the world and reality, well then absolutely you want to teach them the truth. Just set aside Christianity for a second. Just take any other area of knowledge. Take mathematics or history. We want people to teach them history, their school teachers to teach them history, accurate history, right? We don't think, well, they're just going to, kind of discover true history for themselves. No, we want them to be taught by teachers who can give them, true knowledge, right? So in other areas, we train them up and teach them the things, or have them taught the things that we think are true. Well, it's no different when it comes to their Christianity. And yes, we want them to experience their own relationship with God, but knowledge is a vital part of that. Knowledge is essential. And it's not just propositional knowledge, but it's experiential knowledge. And so I think we start by giving them the truth, training them in the truth, and then eventually, as they get older, 5th, 6th grade, junior high, then we help them to question that in healthy ways. Have a kind of a healthy skepticism, even of what mom and dad say. I want them to eventually think for themselves. I want them to have reasons of their own for why they embrace Christ. And so I want to give them the tools and put them in a situation where they can do that, properly, where they can learn how to think properly. And it's not just going to happen on its own. We've got to set them up for that. But then, yeah, we give them the what, and then help them to think through the why on their own, and eventually come to their own reasons. Listen to God, if that means studying the Scriptures, and see and come to their own conclusions about what He says in the Scriptures. So yeah, I think we have to be intentional to get our kids and our young people in a position where they can think for themselves in good and healthy ways, and ultimately arrive at true conclusions about reality.